Do women complain too much? Normally, I'd just say yes and move on. There's hardly a need to produce a video for a yes or no question with such an obvious answer, at least as it applies to the average woman. In giving the nuance of this topic a little thought, however, I stumbled on a video of a group of female psychotherapists and counselors attempting to answer that question. There's a link to the original in the low bar. It was, to say the least, an interesting discussion, and today I'm going to talk about what they got right, what they got wrong, and what they never even thought of, here in An Ear for Men.
Well, the key here, I think, is men have this thing, because they've got their little one-lane country road mind, that they
Of course, a condescending, stereotypical complaint about men is the perfect video excerpt to introduce the conversation about women complaining too much. So let's move on.
I've heard people say that the most unattractive quality in a woman is when she complains all the time.
Actually, I think there are qualities in some women that are a lot more unattractive than complaining. False rape claims, paternity fraud, gold digging, emotional terrorism, parental alienators, exploitation of family court biases, and a few other items make too much complaining seem like a vacation in Fiji to me. Then again, she's probably talking about the most commonly expressed concerns she hears, so I want to proceed with an open mind and hear what these ladies have to say.
Well, the question is, are you whining or are you genuinely expressing something that you're having an issue with?
Aye, there's the rub. Are you complaining about something important? Are you complaining just to hear yourself complain? And do you know the difference? That last one is the $64,000 question. Do you know the difference? Now I'm interested. Let's see where this goes.
You have to figure out the difference between the two, because when you're whining, it sounds wah. It's not. There's nothing sexy about that.
Well, there's nothing sexy about talking about real problems either. But I didn't think this was about what's sexy. I thought it was about excessive complaining and what actually facilitates communication. So while I give her an E for the effort here, I have to take off marks for derailing. The question is about knowing the difference between autonomic projectile whining and effectively communicating about problems. So far, that's not answered. Actually, there hasn't been an attempt to answer it. Let's keep trying.
Nagging, yeah, it's like nails on a chalkboard, even if somebody's nagging to me. If you're expressing how you feel and your partner says, well, you're complaining.
That's because women, we express everything. We're just talking, and that's why women live longer than men, because we get our feelings out.
No, Cupcake. In 1920, the life expectancy difference between men and women was 1 year. Now it's 6. That isn't because men don't spontaneously emote every time something in life triggers a feeling. It's because men sacrificed to make the world a safer place for women before they gave a single thought to themselves. It's because that chair you're sitting on and the roof it is sitting under, in that climate-controlled building you drove to in a nice, comfortable automobile, were all created by men involved in dangerous, highly stressful work. The proceeds of most of their labor also went to the care of women like you, who can now sit there and, with the use of advanced technology also created by men, broadcast really clueless opinions about sex and life expectancy. But of course, this is further off the topic. We are still looking for an answer to our original question.
Cold. I'll be at the grocery store and I'll tell my husband, oh, it's so cold in here. And he said, quit complaining. All you do is complain. All you do is whine. I said, I'm just stating a fact. I'm cold. I'm not complaining. Yes, you are. All you do. So they hear it as complaining and whining.
Yes, indeed we do. And there's a reason we hear it like it's complaining and whining. It's because it is, and your husband is obviously tired of it. I don't blame him. He's angry for some pretty deep reasons, but I'll get to that in a bit. Right now, I bet he's equally tired of the duck and fade she pulls by saying, "Oh, I wasn't complaining, I was just stating a fact." Nope, she was complaining. Her husband called her on it, so she lied and said she wasn't. Now she is carrying that lie into her discussion and her work as a therapist. You know who has to complain? State facts about every temperature change in life? Do you know who has to seek an audience over their feelings about a glass of water sitting in front of them? Children. Grown-ups just deal. If the big bad air conditioning at the grocery store is too much for you, take a sweater. Heck, take a parka if you have to, but for God's sake, just shut up about it. Save your complaints for real problems, lady, and you'll find that your husband and most other men, for that matter, are more receptive to listening to you. How ironic is it that we started with the question being posed whether a woman knew the difference between communicating problems and whining, and so far all we have is one therapist proving that she doesn't.
So they hear it as complaining and whining, and women are just stating a fact. Yeah. So it's
You don't think men have a point?
Sometimes they do.
Yeah, they don't. Because
sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
You know, that brings
How profound. And since that's the last word they will offer on that, let's see what else they have to say. Oh, and by the way, the lady therapist that implied men have a point, you get the award for best self-answering question on this video. Anyway.
an interesting thing because it's one of those things that women often talk all the time.
Yes.
Or men say that anyway. You know, women talk all the time.
They verbally process more.
But, you know, the key here, I think, is men have this thing, you know, because they've got their little one-lane country road mind, that they have to fix your problem. Like when you say, well, it's true, I didn't make it up. Read it, it's on Wikipedia. It's called penis.
And we know that's true because it's on the internet, right?
That's right, it must be true. But, you know.
Oh, back to the snotty gender studies lady again. Okay, I'll bite. Now, where on earth could men have possibly gotten the idea that women want them to fix their problems? Could it possibly be from the women complaining about those problems? You see, this is one of the more biblically sized clouds of flatulence in the modern female psyche. So many women have themselves totally convinced that they don't depend on and don't pressure men to fix the things they complain about. All we do is socialize men to take care of women, to provide for them, and to fix their problems. We shame the living crap out of them when they aren't of service to women. And now what do we have? A $200 an hour expert to sit there and make fun of men for being that way.
You know, men think like when you're saying, oh, you know, this is a terrible thing, then they have this feeling, like a guilt association. Okay, how do I fix it?
Yes,
right?
they have to fix it. That's right. And he can't fix the temperature at the supermarket, so
yeah,
it
but
makes
you're
it
not
very
even
frustrating.
asking him to, but he reads it as a whine.
It's
But I
innate.
think also, and this comes back to the one-lane country road thing, is that that for a man, it's like he thinks like when you know, for a woman, she can go, okay, well, it's cold in the supermarket. Then you're moving on to something else. It's like you're stating all this stuff, and to him, it's like, oh, all I hear is nagging. You're nagging.
Because he can't fix everything.
'cause he
Why
can't
does he?
fix it.
His whole job is to fix everything.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes, that's
exactly.
why
I just think
He's the
that's
mother.
hardwired. I mean,
Yes.
sometimes
Okay, let's just stop it there while we try to sort out the dissonance in the room. Let me explain why they are struggling with this. You see, to one-lane country road lady's credit, she does get part of the equation right. Men do feel guilty when they can't fix something that a woman complains about. Sometimes, during financial hardship, when men can't take care of women, they kill themselves out of pure shame. Now, going back to the lady who can't handle the temperature in the grocery store without a feelings conference, this is the driving force behind her husband's anger at her. Every complaint she makes that he can't fix triggers guilt in her traditionally socialized man. Every whine is a badge of shame on some level, even if he would never admit it. These women, mental health professionals, are much more likely to make fun of that than they are to stop whining or, God forbid, reconsider how men are socialized to take care of them and start working on helping them take red pills. They can't do that because it undermines the chivalrous, exploitive expectations of men on which they so completely depend. But I still have hope for the lady at the center in the green jacket. She seems to be trying to resist the vortex of stupid whirling around in that room.
Sometimes I'll say that to my husband, and he'll say, "Really? Well, I'm breathing." You know, I guess it doesn't register for him that to express it that way.
Yeah.
you
If I
know?
tell my son something happened and then he's busy at that moment, he gets so upset. He's like, "Because I'm busy right now. I can't. I didn't want you to fix it. I was just telling you about it."
Okay, but to defend men for a second, because I think
But that is defending them.
we
Sure.
are defending.
Yeah.
They're- They do things differently.
not only do they do well, what I want to say is that I think women sometimes fail to point out the positive. We
I
agree with
Just when I was starting to believe. Okay, I think I get it now. You think women should remain in continual demand of an audience, the center of a man's focus, but they need to give us a break here and there by injecting some more positive things into the stream of infantile squawking?
of all the things we're bitching
agree.
about. So it's cold, or it's this, or it's
Yes.
that, and we're not also saying,
I
"Gosh, you look
appreciate.
great today," or
Yeah.
"Isn't it a sunny day?" or whatever. We're not bringing up the positive.
Yep, I was right.
So there is a group of people that complain incessantly.
Yeah. And that's a
I'm
turn off.
guilty.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
And now we get down to the thrust. The lady who asked the question at the start, implying that women should know the difference between incessant whining and problem solving, admits that she herself does not know the difference and, in fact, never stops complaining about anything and everything. Isn't that just rich?
Sorry, you were going
No,
to
just
speak.
to say, I appreciate that you did this even. I mean, we're so
Yes.
busy about, the tasks and this and the kids and whatever, it's
And men
easy to
thrive on
complain.
appreciation. They
Yeah.
do. So we got to remember to thank you for taking out the garbage.
We
or
all do
whatever.
think the question.
And from there, of course, they spiraled quickly into a condescending binge of reminding each other to reward their husbands for all the crap they dole out like they were well-trained
We
dogs.
also think the question is really about how do you break the habit? And we can all sort of say that there's a time and a place to voice a concern. How do you guys, what's a piece of advice you give to your clients in order to reframe in a mindful way?
Hold the fucking phone! Am I crazy, or did I just see and hear a bunch of mental health professionals admit that they were chronic whiners and then move directly into a discussion of how to counsel people who whine too much? That's like me doing 6 shots of tequila before going into sessions with my clients who are alcoholic. God help us, let's take a look at how FUBAR this thing really gets.
Looking at the positive as opposed to being stuck on the negative.
Well, I think when if someone's bitching about something
Yeah.
nonstop, there's something else going on.
Says the lady who just admitted that is exactly what she does. And for one glorious moment, she is right. So, lady, what is going on with you? Maybe, just maybe, you should stop talking from your perch about other people for a few minutes and go back through this video enough times to figure out that you just put your unresolved personal problems on full public display.
And so the first thing I would say to one of my patients is, okay, what's this really about? Because you can bitch about this, that's on the surface. What's going on underneath?
Wah, wah, wah.
It's coming outside. So that's what I would
would
want to
say
know.
think about how is it going to come across to the other person. What if you were in their shoes? And I have
Like your angry husband's shoes? Look, folks, there's still 2 more full minutes of that video remaining, but I'm not going to bother with splicing it in here. Like I said, there's a link in the low bar. The TLDR of what's left is as expected. A group of therapists giving Peter Pan advice on problems they don't really understand and can't even fix in themselves. In the process, they are doing anything but looking in the mirror. I can solve all of this for that crew, both personally and professionally, with 2 words: grow up. If you can grasp that concept, then other advice might help, like learning to appreciate the men in your life in a way that doesn't look like throwing a dog a treat for not pissing the carpet. You might show some appreciation, for instance, by just shutting up. Very little in your life is a big problem. Most of what you complain about are things you can solve without an audience. If you need someone to hear petty stuff so much, get a digital recorder and talk to it about the temperature in the grocery store. Maybe a sock puppet will help. You can even make it talk back to you. Look, just basically here, get over yourselves, ladies. Right now, you are living better, more privileged lives than any other human beings who live or have ever lived on this planet. If that isn't enough, find yourself a therapist till you figure it out. I'll give you a hint, though. Don't hire one of the ones in that video with you. Hi guys, it's time for Monday's Myth Busting. Contrary to common perception, men are human beings. Yes, it's true. If you peel back their skin, you find flesh and blood, not gears and wires. They feel, too, as deeply and profoundly as any woman. Anyone who tells you different is showing you their own shallowness and lack of humanity. Remember, men, they're human, okay? As always, thanks for watching this video and all the others from An Ear for Men. We appreciate likes, subs, and shares, and we really like those who support our work with a pledge on the Patreon page. Links to all of that are in the low bar. You take care, guys, and we'll see you next time.